Many member states assess that it seeks to establish a Uyghur state in Xinjiang, China, and towards that goal, facilitates the movement of fighters from Afghanistan to China, the report said. It also warned of an increasing flow of ETIM fighters from Syria to Afghanistan. Another member state reported that the group has also established corridors for moving fighters between the Syrian Arab Republic, where the group exists in far larger numbers, and Afghanistan, to reinforce its combat strength, the report said. Much of the Turkestan Islamic Party's attention in recent years appears to have been focused on Syria, another country in which the U.S. backed an anti-government rebellion that splintered into factions with ties to al-Qaeda, and later with the Islamic State militant group, ISIS. But as the Syrian government, supported by Iran and Russia, continue to bombard the last insurgent-held outpost of Idlib, Uyghur separatists appear to have a renewed interest in Afghanistan. And ETIM has a long history there. In the 1980s, the group took inspiration from Mujahideen that received support from the U.S. in their struggle against a Soviet incursion. China also backed the Muslim rebels, and when the Soviet Union left and its allied communist administration in Kabul collapsed, both Washington and Beijing felt the effects, as the Xinjiang insurgency in neighboring China soon erupted, accompanied by global al-Qaeda plots and the devastating attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon on September 11, 2001. Now, with the Taliban back in power, China fears ETIM and other militant groups could again take advantage of the situation to wreak havoc on the People's Republic. Some terrorist groups have gathered and developed in Afghanistan over the past 2 decades, posing a serious threat to international and regional peace and security, Chinese embassy spokesperson Liu Pingyu. In particular, as an international terrorist organization listed by the UN Security Council, the ETIM poses an immediate threat to the security of China and its people. In an effort to avoid this outcome, Chinese officials have courted the as yet unrecognized Taliban leadership in a bid to ensure that they cut all ties with groups posing a threat to China and neighboring nations. Liu said such assurances were offered by Taliban Political Bureau Chief Abdul Ghani Baradar, now the Islamic Emirates' first deputy prime minister, during his meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Tianjin in July. The head of the Afghan Taliban made it clear to the Chinese side that the Afghan Taliban will never allow any force to use the Afghan territory to engage in acts that hurt China, Liu said. The Afghan Taliban should earnestly honor its commitment, make a clean break with all terrorist organizations, resolutely fight against the ETIM and clear the way for regional security, stability, development and cooperation. He said China was following closely the establishment of the interim Taliban government announced on Tuesday, looking for a peaceful outcome that excludes the presence of militant groups like ETIM. China sincerely hopes all parties of Afghanistan can echo the eager aspiration of the Afghan people and common expectation of the international community, build an open and inclusive political structure, adopt moderate and prudent domestic and foreign policies, make a clear break with terrorist organizations in all forms and live in good terms with all countries, especially neighboring countries, Liu said. The Chinese embassy in Washington also referred Newsweek to the joint statement adopted during a first-ever summit of the 6 nations that border Afghanistan, China, Iran, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. Beyond ETIM, the language also made reference to other regional blacklisted armed organizations, including Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan and the Baloch Liberation Army, both of which have been implicated in a recent spate of attacks against Chinese citizens and interests in Pakistan. The statement emphasized that Afghanistan's territory should not be allowed to pose a threat to other countries, and reiterated that terrorist organizations, such as ISIS, al-Qaeda, ETIM, TTP, BLA, Jandala and others should not be allowed to maintain a foothold on Afghanistan's territory. But the Turkestan Islamic Party, like ISIS, continues to make aspirational references in its public messaging to the historic Khorasan region that encompasses Afghanistan and its Central Asian periphery. It is here that the group sees the U.S. as contributing to the anti-China campaign by withdrawing from the two-decade war effort in Afghanistan. The United States is a strong country, it has its own strategy, and we see the withdrawal of the American government today from this war in Afghanistan, which is incurring huge economic losses, as a means of confronting China, who are the enemy of all humanity and religions on the face of the earth. The Turkestan Islamic Party spokesperson, who did not comment on the distinction with ETIM, said, "We believe that the opposition of the United States to China will not only benefit the Turkestan Islamic Party and the people of Turkestan," the spokesperson added, "but also all mankind." And now the group seeks clarity on Washington's position in order to calculate upcoming moves. "We want to know the U.S. administration's opinion of the Turkestan Islamic Party in the future on confronting the oppressive China, and we want to know whether the U.S. government supports the Uyghur cause or not," the spokesperson said. "We want to know the strategy of the U.S. government against the Chinese government in the future in order to move comfortably," the spokesperson added, "because we see that no one is confronting the unjust China except the American government."